Okay, so welcome to the January 2013 12 Months to a Million Marketing Mastermind Seminar. The guarantee on the seminar is you obviously have to join the Facebook group, go back in time, and see the meetings that you missed, but you can attend those virtually by watching the videos. And if you implement everything we teach you for these 12 months and don't generate $1 million in sales, I'll give you all your money back. That's a guarantee. You actually have to do what we teach. The average result is 0.0 because people don't do it. So, be an implementer. So we have 2 sessions today. We are going to do the 10 big breakthroughs to double your sales, and then we are going to do the continuation from last month, which is how to build a 4-step video sales funnel so you can and clone yourself, automate your marketing, and have your prospects pre-qualified, predisposed, pre-interested, and pre-ready to buy from you. Make sense? So we're going to be going through that funnel, what exactly needs to be in each one of those videos to make it work. We'll be going through video scripts from people in the mastermind group, editing their stuff, making it better, working on your stuff. Just for everyone who doesn't know, besides the people in this room, there are 65 people participating virtually who will see this next week. So some of those people you will see were sent in their homework, and we're going to work on their stuff as well. Everybody with me? Say yes, I know you're with. Good. Yes. Okay. All right, so 10 big breakthroughs to double your sales. Multiply your income, own more autonomy, independence, and security than ever before. Everybody has something to take notes on. This was, I apologize, this is a housekeeping item that came up last month. If you are in the Facebook group, which you have to friend me on Facebook to get in, and then I'll let you in the group, you get a copy of the slides. They will be available for download. So you don't have to furiously write every single thing on every single slide. Write down the takeaways, write down what's important to you, write down what resonates with you so that you have it. So just so you know, you don't have to copy every single thing verbatim. Okay, so let's get started. Secret number 1, making the transition from owner of the business to entrepreneur. What do I mean by that? A business owner would be a jeweler who owns a jewelry store. How many people are familiar with Michael Gerber, who wrote the E-Myth series? Okay. If you haven't read the E-Myth series, highly suggest you go get it. Michael Gerber, this example would be the role of the technician, the person who does the actual work. So if you're a financial planner, doing the work of being a financial planner would be Morningstar analysis, portfolio reviews, money management. That would be the business owner. The entrepreneur has a change in mindset. It isn't just thinking about how do I make sure that I've got the latest, greatest funds. How do I make sure that I'm teaching the best golf swing stuff? The entrepreneur starts thinking about scalability, starts thinking about growing the business. How do I get more people to show up? How do I create a system that runs without me working it? So a jeweler, an entrepreneur who owns a jewelry store, would own a jewelry store solely for the point of building a list of customers, and who also runs jewelry parties, organizes tours to diamond mines for rich clientele to pick their own diamond, has other luxury product stores and relationships with them. You see the difference? One's a normal mindset. The E-myth, the entrepreneurial myth, is that, hey, I work for a mechanic in a garage. I hate my boss. I can fix cars, so I'm going to go out on my own and start my own garage. He thinks just because he can fix a car, change an engine, change transmission, he can run a business. That's the entrepreneurial myth. So he's a business owner. Is the mechanic who starts his own garage, he's created himself a job. That's what he's done. He's bought a job by starting his own garage. He hasn't thought, why am I getting in the garage business in the first place? Does that make sense? So, we're gonna, because this is a mastermind, we go around and we work on people's stuff. How does this apply? Tell me how you see this applying for you. I'm pointing at Tom, sorry.
Okay.
I should call on him, I apologize.
Okay.
We go around the room, we put everybody on the spot equally, so you're not.
Well, I think that I would probably qualify for somewhere kind of like in between. I had the idea of having some things online. In fact, I have some products I sell online, but I have not been able to sell them very effectively.
Which is part of why you're here, right? So if we're selling, in Tom's case, for those of you who can't see Tom because the camera's pointed this way or because you don't know Tom, dog training products. Now, we need to start thinking of it as, not, I'm in the dog training business, but I'm in the marketing of services and products to, in this case, dog owners. Which means it opens up a whole other world. Because you don't just have to sell your collars and your ebooks and your courses. You can say, what else would these people want? Which opens up a whole new realm of revenue streams, partnerships, and other businesses that you're now in. Does that make sense? So how do you do this? How do you make that transition? Vertical expansion. Vertical expansion would be buy the businesses that you sell to, or buy the vendors that you buy from. So for example, John Fortini, who is hypothetically, who is on his way, who is a caterer, and has 2 retail pizza restaurant locations, this would be if John bought, for example, the company that supplies his dough. They're one of his vendors. Now all of a sudden he's controlling the supply chain. He buys the vendor he gets dough from, and he buys, let's say he has created a special kind of pizza, which he has, the Magnum pizza. And instead of just selling it one at a time to people who call and order it, now he says he's in a whole other business and he starts selling it to Wegmans. And Wegmans puts it in their freezer. So now he's piggybacking on Wegmans customers. So that's vertical expansion. Go up and down your supply chain and take control of the businesses that either depend on you or that you depend on. You're not going to go necessarily buy a mutual fund company, as an example of one of the products that you sell your clients to. However, you could start your own registered investment advisor, have your own, and then instead of giving that money away to Franklin Templeton, you're now keeping it. Just one of the things we do. Example, pizza parlor buys flower plants or the farm, etc., etc. You can also do this with horizontal expansion. Buy or start a related business that your list is already buying from, your customer list. They're buying stuff from other people. You're not the only place they buy consulting services from. You're not the only place that they buy senior services or business services from. Who else are they buying from? Capture their greater share of wallet by owning everybody. I realize you're not going to write a check tomorrow for another business, but it's to change your mindset. So restaurant owner buys a wine store. A company we had a relationship with, Trattiara Aroma, did this. The store on Main, Cafe Aroma, started Vino Aroma, the wine store next door, because they were already buying wine and said, let's just own it so that we don't have to give them money. And now, all the customers for the wine store, they now have a list of all the customers who were buying wine, and they can now market to them for their restaurant, cross-promotion. So if you're a web design firm, well, what else are those businesses buying from? Who else are they buying from? Do they need Infusionsoft, and then you have a relationship with us? Do they need hosting, and you now have a hosting company? Do they need, well, geez, we're a new business, we need a new website, we need to incorporate. Do you now have a relationship with a corporate attorney who does incorporations who can now send you all their business? Questions on secret number 1, changing the mindset from owner to entrepreneur. Ways you see it working. I see wheels turning, but you can share and we can all comment. Or not.
Okay, I'm in the,
yes,
in the elder care business.
Yes.
I help people find safe places for their mom to live. And I help with moving services, and I help transport people around, drive people home from rehab. Getting into a situation, I'm helping this guy. He had a medical problem. He's an older guy, and his house got into a big mess. He's a bit of a hoarder. So we've been cleaning out his house, but his nephew runs a pharmacy in Kenmore. So I'm talking to his nephew about how about if we go to these senior buildings and you have your pharmacy sell all the seniors their drugs, you set them up in the weekly box because you're a qualified pharmacist, you do the delivery, and that's one of the services I can offer people.
I love it. Pharmacy also serves senior folks. So
They're getting older.
all those customers, how are they getting to the pharmacy to get their drugs? How are they getting other places?
They're going to need
Where are they moving
assisted
to?
living after they get too old
Perfect
and
example.
flaky.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
So
what
now
they
you
need.
have way more than just a pharmacy. What about the wheelchair company? What about the home contractor remodeler who does handicap conversions because they want to stay in their house?
Right.
Brainstorm. Who else serves old people? We don't have any old people in the room, but you know, everybody knows some old people. Who else serves old people?
Undertaker.
Undertaker. Although you want to get them before they're dead, right? Although now that they're dead, they need their house transitioned and all that stuff. Financial advisor, estate planning attorney.
Yeah,
Doctors.
It's limitless.
Gerontologists. Yeah, absolutely. So now, instead of a flow chart that looks like one box of Tim and then his customers, you now have like an organizational chart where there's like 10 things across the way, all feeding each other. Diversity leads to stability. The loneliest number in any business is one. You don't want to have one source of marketing, one source of customer, one source of supplier. You don't want to have one assistant, battle axe Bertha, who knows where everything is, and if she quits, you're screwed. Does that make sense?
Especially with like the pharmacy connection, because insurance pays for walkers and wheelchairs and convalescent supplies. So if it's
I mean,
free
drug delivery is a whole other business you need to be in. That's a great, I love it. And then that's not one pharmacy, you could hit every pharmacy in Western New York, so you will deliver your drugs to your old people, and then we can also deliver other stuff. There's a shopping. Don't take mom to the grocery store when hey, your drug is up for renewal, we've got it. Would you like us to pick up anything at the pharmacy and drop it off? Would you like us to stop at Wegmans on the way to your house and pick up any groceries?
And I'm also working on a concept where I'm collecting menus so that I can sell like a book of menus to these old people that can't get out. They just open up the book and they order off the menu. They order from the place, and then we have my guy pick it up and drop it off at the senior
Which is
center.
technically a business that already exists, Takeout Taxi, but Takeout Taxi isn't customized for seniors. You're going to get big print menus. You're going to offer places like that they know of, that they used to go to, and you're the one who has a relationship with the list, so you can charge more.
Kosher, Chinese, Italian.
Jewish, deli, yep, exactly.
Yeah, his business is about trust. Trust
Yes.
that elderly person.
I mean, every single person technically, every business is about trust to a certain
Right,
extent.
but I would order from Takeout Taxi. I don't have to consolidate, but we're
Right.
at the advantage. What
Right.
you're bringing is trust.
But
There's a lot of
Gilda
places
wants to
that
order
just-
from Nice Tim.
A lot of restaurants just don't deliver.
Right, that's also true. But Takeout Taxi doesn't cover everything, and Takeout Taxi doesn't have a relationship with the list. And the Takeout Taxi menus are really small print and glossy paper. And if you have arthritic fingers, it's hard to turn.
One of the things that I would think was mentioned is the people that are in elder care have children, and the children care about how they're being cared for and whether or not they're taking their medications. There's actually applications out there that on mobile phones where that individual or that child can learn whether or not they've taken their medications, and there might be an opportunity to kind of synergize with those kind of affiliations to offer that to your individuals and kind of be the conduit for providing the product to them.
Sure.
Yeah, what you want, and that is absolutely right, thank you for bringing that up. You want to be a toll road. Think about it, you drive on the 90, you gotta pay. If you get to you have to pay. And it doesn't take much maintenance, theoretically it shouldn't, to keep the 90 going. You want to be the gatekeeper where you have the relationship with the list, and once you have that list, you can get other people to pay you for access to it, for the opportunity to get in front of your customers. So for example, in the financial advisor marketing niche, for the most popular keyword in that niche, we get 80% of the traffic on that keyword, 80% of the Google searches every month opt in on one of our 3 websites in that niche every month. Not go to our site, opt in, as in go to our site, punch in their name, email, and cell phone and say, yes, give me info. So, because we now own the market, for the last 6 months, I've been reselling those leads to other financial services companies that want access, whether it's Merrill Lynch that wants to recruit that advisor, or another company that sells them a marketing book, or a CD or a tape. So if they don't buy from us, we resell the lead to someone else and say maybe they'll resonate with whoever. But only because we own the list and we own the traffic can we do that. Does that make sense? So you want to be the gatekeeper. Secret number 2, direct response marketing. Marketing that allows you to accurately measure the effectiveness of every single ad campaign down to the penny. Obviously, you know we practice and preach this, and it's all the only marketing we do. We don't do brand building. Brand building should be a happy byproduct of direct response. So if I'm doing direct response marketing, people will learn about my brand and will get it. However, I am not trying to get my name out there. I'm trying to drive sales. To get my name out there is brand building would be Nike, just do it. So we know who Nike is. They spend billions every year. No one's buying shoes because of just do it right away. Brand building like that takes time because you're not giving a direct offer. Whereas direct response, you know the second they get it if they want it or not. So where does direct response marketing work? Retail, restaurants, service industries, professional practices, business to business, sales professions, health and fitness, everywhere basically. So what do you do now with secret 1 and 2? You need to look at people outside of your industry. We have a tendency, Dan Kennedy, my marketing coach, calls it marketing incest. Everybody copies each other and they all get stupid. So if you look at the personal injury attorneys in the phone book, all the ads look the same. Actually, if you look at pretty much any industry, they all look exactly the same. So how do you differentiate? You don't. If you're doing the same thing, if you're all saying we give good customer service and we've been in business since 1807, it falls on deaf ears. So you take something away from a different industry and use it in your own and it becomes revolutionary. I mean, Dave Thomas was the first fast food restaurant with a drive-thru. He got the idea from a bank. He was at his bank drive-thru and said, you know, I can't fit a burger in that pneumatic tube. It wouldn't work very well. It'd come out kind of squished at the other end. But I could have a window. And every fast food place now has a window drive-thru because he translated it. Starbucks. Starbucks sells the same coffee Tim Hortons does at 3 times the price. Before Starbucks, were you ever walking down the street going, man, I can't believe I can go 2 blocks without paying $4 for a cup of coffee. I really need that? No, but now people can't live without it. So, first homework assignment from this is create a higher end pricing strategy. Raise your prices. Whatever you're charging, it's not enough. You will find you're leaving money on the table and you will kick yourself, but you'll be happy you changed this. And we'll show you the math of that in a little bit. But if you use this type of marketing and these secrets properly, you can use the same media everyone else is using differently. And you can also use media no one else can because they can't afford it. And you'll have more opportunities to attract and acquire customers. And you will eliminate all the waste in your marketing because you will instantly know what works and what doesn't. And you can stop spending money on stuff that doesn't work. I'll give you one really quick, really cheap, really easy example. It's called call8.com. K-A-L-L-8. Call8.com for $2 a month will give you an 800 number that will then tell you anytime you want to sign into your account who called, what's the phone number, caller ID, time, date, stamp, who called. So if I have a postcard marketing campaign and the only place I put that 1-800 number is on this postcard, I now instantly know how many people called from it. Nobody called, better fix the postcard. 20 people called, is that good, is that bad, do I want more, do I want less, etc., etc. But now I put a different 800 number on every marketing piece I've got, and you have to actually label them properly so you know which one is which. But now I know every single campaign I run, what are my results on the phone side. We have other ways of tracking website clicks and email and opt-ins and stuff. But on the phone side, I instantly know how many people call. So if nobody calls, I got some explaining to do. And I can eliminate my frustration. Secret number 3 is your business message. The marketplace will respond if you can convey reasons to buy and show what the next step is towards buying. You have to tell your customers what to do. You cannot assume they already know. I got a marketing piece, I forgot it. I had too much stuff this because of the lights this morning in the mail yesterday from a car dealer, and it didn't tell me what to do. It didn't tell me if they wanted me to come in for a test drive. It didn't tell me if I was supposed to go to a website, if I was supposed to buy a car. I was like, really, you spent all this money, there's nothing there. There's no call to action. Obviously, the number one marketing sin is being boring, so don't do that. So 3 ways to create a great message. Reposition your business and make it about something. Like Disney is about where dreams come true. What is your business actually about? And Jay Abraham, whose stuff I highly recommend, says one of the keys to success is the more you fall in love with your customers, the better results you will have. If you can't stand your customers, you need new customers. The more you love them, the more you want to serve them, the more ways you will come up with to serve them, the better you will do. Target marketing, make your business for somebody. Weight Watchers is designed for women. Nutrisystem is designed for men. I think there's some chairs at the end. So you can make your business about something, you can make your business for somebody, or you can have a unique selling proposition, what I call a magical selling proposition, which is why should I pick you as opposed to anyone else who does what you do? Why are you different? And it can't be because you got better service or because you care, because everyone says that, so no one actually hears it. So the unique selling proposition, you may have heard this before, but I'll give you the example of one of the most famous ones in history, is Domino's Pizza. At the time, Tom and his brother were going to the University of Michigan. One went to school during the day, one went to school at night. They had brought a bankrupt pizzeria, and they worked it in the off hours they weren't in school, and that was going to pay for school. And after 3 months, the pizzeria was still bankrupt, and Tom and his brother said, I want to get out. So Tom said, I don't have any money, but I'll give you my 1970, because this is back when it was VW Bug, for your share of the pizzeria. And his brother said, okay, bye, I'm out of the pizza business. And Tom said, I can't compete on better pizza. I'm just a guy, one guy. He thought outside the box and arguably invented pizza delivery and said, I won't compete on pizza, I'll compete on delivery, which is fresh hot pizza in 30 minutes or less guaranteed, which built a billion-dollar company. Now, there's some interesting things about that USP in terms of what it doesn't say. It doesn't say the pizza will be good. It doesn't say it's mama's recipe from the old country, that's Papa John's stick. It doesn't say they're fresh ingredients. It just says it'll be hot in 30 minutes. So, Steve Jobs would tell you, don't do a focus group. Don't ask your customers what they want because they don't really know. If Henry Ford, if we had done focus groups, all we'd have right now are fester horses because no customers knew they wanted a car. I wouldn't have an iPhone or an iPad because no one knew they wanted one. Steve decided they wanted one and made one. So, your customers don't, you should survey your customers and find out what they think they want, but sometimes you have to tell them what they want. So anyway, be bold in your USP because boring won't help. Secret number 4 is effectively communicating your message. Instead of focusing on what you do, the technical work, focus on how to sell what you do. Because it doesn't matter how good you are if you have no one to be good for. The best stock picker in the world isn't Warren Buffett. It's someone no one's ever heard of. Because he's got 100 grand in his account, he's trading it for himself, and he's got a perfect track record, but he's never told anyone, or didn't know how. So that's why he's not Warren Buffett. He doesn't have $40 billion. Warren Buffett not only was really good at it, he was really good at telling people about it. Which is what got him a $40 billion fund. Being the best doesn't mean a thing if you can't apply your skills to help anyone. You actually have to have customers. So here's a 2-step process to selling more. Get good at something, and then develop the skill to tell people about it. Develop the words that sell. So let's go back a little bit, and let's talk about the unique selling proposition. You may not have one yet, that's totally okay. This may be the first time you're hearing about it, or you may be kicking around for years. So let's talk about what if you don't have a USP, what your slogan is, what your tagline is, how you answer the question, what do you do? And we'll go from there. You're sitting here first, we'll start.
I don't have any of that put together yet. What do I do? I'm a financial consultant.
Does anybody know what that means? Not entirely. Yes and no. We can guess. But does the word financial consultant tell us what that is? You consult on finances.
It means stay away.
It means stay away. I thought that would be life insurance salesman. That's okay. So we've got some preconceived notions. So you can be about something, for somebody. So who do you want to, so you should always start, the biggest factor in the success or failure of any marketing campaign is who. Who are you going after? That you could send a offer to the perfect list and do very well. You could send the perfect offer to a lousy list and get nothing. So that is the most important factor, is who is your target market? Who do you want to serve? It's not going to be a perfect answer, so that's why you're here.
Individuals in their late 50s that are thinking about retiring.
Individuals in their late 50s who are thinking about retiring. Okay, do we have a picture in our head of who that person could be? We have more of a picture. Okay, now there are a whole lot of individuals in their late 50s who are thinking about retiring in, let's say, the Western New York market. Can we narrow it down some more? Because in order to get, you either need a large marketing budget to get in front of every single person over 50 who's thinking about retiring, or we need to narrow down the list. And if you have the money to market to every single person over 50 who's thinking about retiring, that's the only message you could give them. Are you over 50 and are you thinking about retiring? Which is generic. If we make it more specific, you can spend a whole lot less money and get a lot better results. So for example, could you be for, and I'm not saying this, I'm just giving examples, Republican hunters who are over 50 and thinking about retiring. Or, there's two of them?
School teachers.
School teachers who are thinking, yeah. You already knew the answer that he was going to give you. Yeah, school teachers who are thinking about retiring. So is that an example you want to work on, or do you want to use school teachers, or do you want to come up, do you want to brainstorm something?
That's my primary market right now, yes.
Okay, so school teachers who are over 50 who are thinking about retiring. You got a much more narrow, we're getting there. Are these school teachers in a certain school district?
They're spread all over Western New York right now.
Okay, so no. I'm not narrowing by geography. All right, tell me more about your normal, ideal school teacher client.
Somebody that's been in the New York State system for 25 plus years, that has pension benefits.
Yep, okay.
And has actively been saving in their retirement plan, which is probably
403B, okay. And do these school teachers have anything else do they have other than being a school teacher, are they a certain religion? Do they go to a certain church? They have a certain hobby? What do they like to do in their spare time? We'll come back to
I
that.
haven't gotten that far.
Haven't gotten that. That's why you're here. Okay. So you want to be able to build what's called a customer avatar, where you're going to write as lengthy a description as you can of that person. What keeps them up at night? What are they looking forward to? What are they scared of? What are they worried about? What's their life like at school? What is their life like at home? Are they married? Do they have kids? How old are their kids? And then when you've got that, you write your marketing to that one person. Like maybe her name is Jane. Your fictional teacher's name is Jane. And you write a letter, you write your sales campaign to Jane, as if you're talking directly to her across the kitchen table. Yes?
How does he know that's the right market for him? The most lucrative market?
It's not, it's what he gave me.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
You know me, I'm struggling with that.
Yes.
Right now, so.
Okay, so is it okay if we transition, answer that question, and then go back? Okay. So, no, that's why, that's the whole point, give and take. Okay, so how do you determine if your target market is the right target market? First of all, obviously, there has to, you asked how do you determine if it's lucrative, is it the right target market for him? It happens to be where he is. What are the disadvantages of, you would do market research, which we're going to get into. Could he pick a different target market? Sure, he doesn't have, you can have more than one. But the question is, how many, do you have a minimum account size for your, how much money do you want them to start with?
100,000.
Okay, so over 50 teacher with 100,000 to invest. Okay, so this isn't going to be a perfect example because it's school teachers, but how many school teachers over 50 with 100,000 to invest are there in Western New York? You would want to know that. Depending on the consumer, if it's a consumer market, you could go on infousa.com, which we'll work on, and do market research and say there's 323 of them. Say, okay, if I get X% of that market and they pay me X, is this enough to sustain, is this lucrative enough? Is it big enough? And the answer may be yes or no, I don't know. It depends on how much money you want to make. So I would work backwards and pick your goal first. How much revenue do you want? Because if you only want to make an extra $5,000, it doesn't, all you need is a couple teachers, and you're good. If you're trying to build a $5 million a year production business, teachers aren't going to get you there. Or you're going to need a lot of them, and you may not want to build the infrastructure to serve that many. Does that make sense? Let's do here.
What's my USB?
Oh yes, we're going on USB for golf.
Shoot lower golf scores 100% guaranteed.
Do we know what that means?
Yeah.
Do you know what he does? We don't know how he does it, but we know what he does. You know what you're getting. We have any golfers in the room?
I can see it, I know two,
Could only be
three.
Does that have appeal?
Gently.
You're not the normal golfer. Your score doesn't need to be that much lower. But
Every golfer's score needs to be.
right, but I mean, it's not like
It's very general, it's not specific enough, probably. Well, it depends on who's gonna market to.
right. Who are we marketing to?
I have multiple
Right.
campaigns now.
We're picking one.
Okay, so right now we have, the focus for this group is junior golfing girls who are advanced. They play events such as the Western New York PGA Junior Tour or similar.
Or who'd like to.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So by juniors, it's an age range, which is
12 to 17.
12 to 17-year-old girls who play golf and are decent and pretty good and want to get better and want in the hopes of getting a college scholarship. Okay. So does shoot 100 lower golf scores 100% guaranteed? It's a good start for that group, but perhaps we need to identify, make it resonate more with what that girl wants.
How about what the parents want?
Because the parents are the ones who are going to pay for
We're
it.
gonna pay for that college bill that they're not gonna have to pay for if she gets a scholarship.
Correct. So, we need a USB for the parents. So it needs to be geared around not just shoot one lower golf scores, but around the ultimate end user benefit that they're hoping they're going to get, which is their daughter's getting a college scholarship. So those words that needs to be in there, obviously. And we can work on that. Tom,
What was the question?
we're working on your unique selling proposition. So if you don't have, your tagline right now is where sit happens.
Well, yeah, that's more of like a tagline
Right.
for the business, but
Right.
like the mission statement
Yeah.
is really more helping people solve their pets' problems. And I'm kind of kicking the idea around of dog training for smart people.
Dog training for smart people.
We can rule out dum-dums.
So that's another important point to bring up about a unique selling proposition. You can also, in direct response marketing, you want to repel the wrong people in addition to attracting the right people. So an easy example of disqualification for Jason would be, if you don't have $1 million to invest, don't bother calling. That's not a USP, but it'd be in the ad. So instantly I know I only 50 grand, I'm not bothering. And nobody with 50 grand is going to bother. So you're trying to repel the dumb people with dogs.
Well, there's so many, like, it's kind of like a takeoff. There's so many books out there, you know, on training for dummies
Yes.
or, you know, on any subject.
He's reverse piggybacking on a national brand, which is good because you don't have to spend their money branding it.
Right,
So dog training for smart people.
right.
Okay,
So
so
it's not so much to repel,
Right.
you know, dum-dums. That was
Yes.
a joke, but I was the only one.
that's okay. You're allowed to have a sense of humor. That's important. Yes. Okay, so dog training for smart people. Are we trying to sell to every single smart dog owner, or is there a subsegment of the market that we want to reach? Like there are different kinds. I'm not a dog guy, but I know there's hundreds of breeds of dogs. So, dogs training for smart people is very generic. Whereas if it would be Doberman training, then you instantly narrow that I know if I've got a Doberman, I got to look at this. Versus if I have a Doberman, I might think, oh, this is just for everybody. I have a Doberman. They're unique. I can't use this.
Right. Well, the mission statement was really more for working with dogs that have problems, pet owners that have problems. So that's really the market. If you have a problem with your dog, and pretty much anyone that has a dog has probably got a problem.
You just disqualified your own self. No, I mean when you said dogs with problems, but every dog has problems, so that defeats the purpose. If every dog really has problems. So
Well, pet owners that have dog problems. How's that?
pet owners that have dog problems.
We can solve your problems.
Okay. Why would I say pet owner as opposed to pet? That's kind of like there's a
What
t-shirt.
kind of problem?
Puppy problems?
Discipline?
Or are they like people, or they can't?
Well, behavior problems, obedience problems. I mean, when you say
Obedience.
problems, I think anyone that's, you know, you use the word, if you have a dog and you have a dog problem, if somebody says, do you have any problems with your dog, you know, virtually most people I talk with, and admittedly, there are people that are calling me, you know, people that have well-behaved, obedient dogs aren't calling me, you know, but, you know, people will be willing to admit that they have a problem with their dog. They don't have the perfect dog.
What is the, that user, the dog owner, what do they want? They don't want problems, they want
To
a
solve
solution.
the problem, they want a
Right.
solution, right. That's the name of the company, my dog company is Smart Dog Solutions.
Okay.
I should have prefaced that, so.
So you don't train like hunting dogs?
No, just with house pets, pretty much, right.
So what do you, when you talk about, what's the name of your business?
Smart Dog Solutions.
To me, that ties up so well where Smart Dog Solutions, where sit happens. I mean, to me, if I was a dog owner, any problem where sit happens, number one, it's really clever. And to me, you separate yourself from everybody else. That's just me and the way my mind runs, guys. But
The thing though is when you say smart dog solutions,
Do you want us to just-
I don't need my dog trained because he's smart.
that wasn't.
I know that, but I'm just saying that it throws me off.
Smart dog solution. Right, we need to change the wording somehow, possibly, as we brainstorm. Not saying we have to, but smart,
You want
that's an
dogs
interesting
that are
point.
obedient, but you call them smart dogs.
Smart Dog Solutions.
Yeah, it's tough though. It's tough to get them to articulate. You know what I mean?
They're smart people.
Yeah, if they can't figure it out.
I could definitely say that I know a dog owner that has a dog with lots of problems, but will never admit it. Thinks that she's the best thing in the world.
Right.
Little pixels.
Yeah, we have no parents who have kids who have
That's
that
fine,
same
so that's not a prospect.
Right.
You don't want people who don't know what their animals
They're
have
in
problems.
denial, right.
I wish my dog
I
wasn't
run
so
into
smart.
people that-
Right.
Do you want us to just pass those down?
Yeah, you could just pass them down. You don't have to.
I'm having a really good time going underneath though.
You don't have to go to the
All right, so we'll come back to that, but we're working on that. Okay, let's do another secret, and then we'll go to Joe. Which will be interesting. Secret number 5: success orientation. Failure orientation is when people are controlled by external circumstances. So if you're thinking about adversity or your lack of resources or whatever the issue is, that's a failure orientation. The solution is, where's the profit in that? So thinking your business is different and this won't work. You're not going to make any money thinking it's different and it won't work. The money is in the solution. The money is in pulling it off. Successful people, when faced with adversity, see opportunity. When you lack resources, you become resourceful and look for new ways to use existing items, skills, or people. And while everyone else is racing to conform, successful people find ways to do the opposite. Secret number 6 is the process and the system. The foundation of almost all the wealth created in America is a system or a process, which is the lifeblood of any company or business. And you basically forget all the books at Barnes, the shelves and shelves and shelves of business books at Barnes & Noble. There are only 2 systems you need. You need a system for getting customers, and you need a system for keeping them happy. The system for keeping them happy is doing what you do, and how you do what you do, so that they stick around. The system for getting the customer in the first place is a marketing system that generates them to raise their hand, say that they're interested, go through your funnel, and buy your stuff. With me? Yes. So by having organized sequential operating systems, everything from cars to computers gets made faster and better. So the marketing system is you get to go to bed every night knowing what's going to happen in your business the next day. Because you know, okay, system is repeatable, reliable, consistent, and runs on autopilot. So arguably, if I send out this postcard and get 30 sales, and I do it 4 times in a row and get 30 every time, I have a system. I now know every time I do this, theoretically, I'm going to get the same result. So it's a question of how many sales do I want equals how many I send. or how much traffic and my phone calls am I going to get, or whatever. Okay, so how to start your marketing system. You are going to list the 3 areas around your system is going to resolve, around which your system will revolve. So this could be the ongoing campaign. It could be you could have parts of this already in place. But what product or service are you going to sell is where you got to start. So we're going to write down number 1. What am I selling? What is this marketing system going to sell? Because you arguably have, some of you have more than one product or service, so you're going to have more than one marketing system. But we're not going to get overwhelmed, we're going to do 1 to start. Make sense? So we're going to write down, while you're eating, what is the one thing, the first system you're going to build, for purposes of this exercise, what are we selling? It could be a specific product, it could be a specific service, it could be for example, your annual or seasonal promotion, or it could be a one-time event. The list obviously is endless. So let me know whenever you know we've at least got, I know what the system I'm building for today, I know what I'm selling. Yes, yes, yes. Somewhat. No, not right.
So I heard you, son.
Yes. You heard me. Okay.
No, I heard you.
That's why you got, yes, we're getting that. Okay. So then, now that we know what we're selling, we need to know who we're selling to. Who is our target market? So we've got junior girls who are looking for a college scholarship. Although technically, you have 2, you're selling to the parents of junior girls. You're selling to school teachers with 100,000 in Western New York who are over 50. I would say the dog owner market is very big. So you may think about a smaller subsegment of it just as a faster way to the cash. Because let's say we were trying to optimize your website for dog behavioral problems, it would get done a whole lot. You could own the market or capture a bigger share a lot faster if you instead owned a longer tail keyword like Doberman problems. I'm not saying, I'm just giving you an example. I'm not saying I'm right. So who are we selling? I believe, whatever, you were picking 3. So you're going to pick one of those. And write down, who are we selling to?
I have it.
You've got it. Okay, which one are we doing?
I'm going to do the R&D tax credits.
R&D tax credit. Okay, can you tell everybody what that is?
So the government basically will allow you tax credits on all your R&D activity in your company. And what a lot of companies don't know is it's not guys in lab coats. It's processes that are going on in every company. It's a lot of that different things. Basically, you do a study, you take that off your taxable income, it puts cash flow back into the company's pocket.
Okay, so research and development credits, and the government gives you money.
Yeah, so what I said is, I said, so I'll just pick one niche, software development companies. So get software development companies money from the government to grow sales, to grow their sales. So the government.
Well, technically, they could do whatever they want with the money, right?
Sure.
You don't want them to, but they could.
Sure. Okay. Good point.
So I'm a software company. Which we do some software. I mean, but I'm a software company, and I don't know that this is tax deductible or whatever. My accountant has, my CFO doesn't know. I'm going to hire you. You're going to fix it. You're going to tell me. You're going to get me a check from the government. I'm going to give you a cut of that money that you recovered from me.
Correct.
Everybody got it? Make sense? So who are we? Who is your target market? Who is the guy who's going to bring you in at that software company and say, yes, we need this. We didn't know this existed. Help us.
Your
owner. Okay, so it's not the CFO. It's not.
Well, it could be, but I technically go with pricing power.
Okay.
If you're If you're a big software development company, you're probably doing this. If you're a 20-person shop, 30-person shop, you're not doing that. And technically, they're probably just owners. The guy who started was a good programmer. He has no idea this is even a possibility.
Okay, so what size is your ideal customer for this service? Because you just brought that up.
Under 30 million.
Under 30 million in revenue. All right.
And I'm just looking that up here.
Okay.
Small.
They better have more than one person on that.
Yeah. Still, you'd be surprised. Software guys are going to focus on software.
Because I was thinking CFO, you know, like they care
But
about.
small.
Right.
I've been successful with small. I mean, really, okay, under 10 million.
You can narrow that down, right? And you can play on Info USA and see.
Right.
Now, if we know you're the owner of a software company, there are two types of lists that we're going to talk about. There is the compiled list and a response list. A compiled list, to get a list of Republican hunters, would be the list of NRA members in an area, the list of registered Republicans in an area. We see who's on both lists. If you're both a member of the NRA and a registered Republican, i.e. you are a Republican hunter. That's a compiled list because we compiled that data. And it's cheaper than a response list. A response list doesn't know I'm a registered Republican, or whoever. It doesn't know I own a gun, but I bought a book on hunting by Glenn Beck. It's conservative. So therefore I responded to something, and based on that response you can guess that that customer is a good customer for me. So you can go get a compiled list of software company owners nationwide or in whatever target market from Info USA and say, I want the owner of a $30 million or less in sales, and here's your list. Or you can also go to SRDS, Standard Rated Data Service, and say, I want the subscription list to Software Owner Magazine, which is for rent. And you can say, arguably the only people who read software company owner magazine are software company owners. So that's a pretty good bet, and I paid for a subscription to the magazine, so I'm interested in learning more about the business I'm in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get you to purchase it? Can I get you to purchase it?
I thought you were talking this is on the joke.
No, I'm talking to you, John.
Yeah, what is the question for me?
Okay, so we were going, so our steps are, what are we selling and who are we selling it to?
I sell high-end video development, development, directing, and production services to marketing companies and ad agencies.
Okay, so for the sake of this exercise, where we're building our marketing system, you and I had talked the other day about a number of markets you were working in, a number of things that you were doing. Which one of those would you like to pick for hypothetical purposes?
Architecture and design.
Architecture and design. So we are selling high-end video production, direction, and etc. to architectural. Are we going to the marketing firm, or are we going to the architecture firm itself?
Probably the architecture firm itself.
Okay. So who is the decision maker at the architect firm that would hire you?
It's usually a VP of marketing.
VP of marketing at an architectural design firm. Okay. So that is a very specific person. We can not only buy a list on Info USA probably of that person, but we can also probably go to SRDS because he probably reads architectural, there's some trade magazine that you could either rent the list or put an ad in front of. Does that make sense? Okay. So, who am I going to serve? What do I know about them? So here's an example of a difference. If one of your targets is men buying an anniversary gift for their wife, would you sell it differently than if you're selling it to the woman buying it for herself? Absolutely. So you got to know who you're selling it to. And we got to make the perfect match, which we're going to talk about in a minute. We're going to go around and do a few more. Don, for the sake of this example, who are we selling to and what are we selling?
Let's see. It's a wide range, as you know.
I'm sorry?
I said there's a wide range, as you know.
Yes, but if we were going to pick...
If we're going to pick one, let's pick something that's a potential new market that we're looking to do. It's a... I don't know exactly how to describe it.
Try.
But it would be the decorating of... say it could be a sweatshirt, it could be a t-shirt, it could be anything like that, but it's a high-end decorating that can actually give you the touch and feel of whatever that product, or let's take an example, let's take a zoo, okay? You can put an elephant on there, it has the feel of the elephant, has the feel of the parrot. Okay, what that looks like and feels like. You could put 6 or 8 animals on there and sell this to zoos around the country, as an example.
That's kind of cool.
Well,
so it's like a textural thing where...
Exactly, yeah. And this is just something that we're exploring with a
I didn't know you did that.
Well, it's a company that has this ability, and we're talking about taking it in this market, and I'm thinking, well, rather than just do that, because you can do it for clubs, so there's lots of different things you can do it with, but right now it's just a big jumbo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you were to say, I mean, I've seen the one that they've done for, you could say, so let's say zoos.
Yeah.
So you would, and this is obviously for the zoo to make money on, because they're going to.
The zoo's going to sell you a gift
bunch
shop.
of t-shirts, sweatshirts, whatever, hoodies, and they could be in Chicago or
right. Your purchasing manager or the person who owns the gift store or something.
Yeah, or somebody in marketing and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure there's some zoo magazine, trade journal. I'm sure there's a few. For the zoologists and for the zoo executive, zoo workers, and all that. So we've got.
And they typically, to me, they typically need to generate income. And
yes.
So this is a way for them to buy something that is going to
resell at a profit.
Resell at a profit that's unique, and not everybody and their brother has it.
Right, because just a regular T-shirt isn't as exciting.
Well, anybody can do it,
right.
So they buy it from the local guy. Whatever.
Right.
This is a little bit different. Not
right.
everybody can do this.
Okay, so you've got a product and you've got a definable target market to sell it to. Beautiful. Tim, we touched on some of your stuff earlier. Let's do Bill.
What I sell is communication skills. That's what people learn. And for salespeople, the outcome is that they're able to get more sold in less time, have more fun, get more done, make more money. My website is We Solve Sales Problems.
So who are we selling to?
Oh, one of my target markets are home improvement companies.
Okay.
High integrity, high quality home improvement companies.
Who is the decision maker at the home improvement company?
Owner.
Okay. So owner of home improvement company, and we can specify by size or by number of employees or something who would be a good fit for you.
Correct.
To a certain extent. Okay. So we've got a target market, and we're selling them communication training. Okay.
It is communication training. People don't buy that. I admit it's sales training.
Okay.
We're only interested in increasing sales.
Okay. So we're selling it to them. We're selling them sales training. You know it's about communication, but the sizzle that gets them interested is sales training.
Then we have to do something to separate my sales training from Dale Carnegie, from every other
right.
person
Correct.
pitching sales training.
Yes.
Which is the reason I have a tendency
yes.
when I'm talking with individuals to always talk about communication skills, because most of the time selling is what turns people off, being sold.
Correct. Okay. So how to make the perfect match. Take one of your products and services, imagine the who is your ideal customer, and write a letter directly to this person and only to that person. Because that's how you make if you're literally sitting there talking to them. And perhaps you take one of the ways to shortcut this process is get in front of that actual person. When you meet with Jane, the school teacher who's 55 with 100,000, who's thinking about retiring, take the conversation. Take a few of them, and then have them transcribed and edit that and make that part of your sales process. Because you're already saying some of these things by naturally when you talk about what you do, but you don't know it. Because you've forgotten so much about what you do, you don't realize it's revolutionary to them. And you don't know what you know, because you know so much. Does that make sense? I mean, Zach can talk about hosting and redundant servers and uptime and all that stuff till he's blue in the face. And the customer may not, but I just want it blue. I want my logo on the left.
So what I'm stuck on this for a second,
yes.
It's completely counterintuitive. What I'm teaching people to do in the world of selling. It's completely the opposite of everything they've learned about selling.
Isn't that a good thing?
Yes, I just don't necessarily know how you word it
everything you know about selling is wrong. You may not like the wrong part.
Right.
Everything you've been taught about selling. What if there was a better way? You tend to like that different way of communicating than I do.
Well, it goes back to repelling.
Right.
I mean, everything you taught about selling is actually repelling.
There you go. Because you can have this conversation. I've seen you have this conversation with me. I know I've seen you have it with other people. Write it down, and then we'll turn it into, next month we'll be turning it into the sales letter, because they're not necessarily going to get you in a 30-second tagline. Because what you're doing is so different, they need more. You need to have the space to tell your story, which can be accomplished in long form.
Okay.
It's not necessary. You can't necessarily put it on a business card.
Unless it folds out.
Right, which Don could make for you. So why we're doing this is there are riches and niches. The more you specialize, the more money you can charge. The higher up you go in a niche, the more specialized you get, the more money you make, which is why one of the reasons I was pushing asking, should you be a Doberman, should you have separate for Doberman versus Pitbull? Because you can charge more if you're for somebody. For example, general practitioner physician, 50 to 100 grand a year probably in Western New York. I have friends who are cardiothoracic surgeons, make $500,000 here. And one of my wife's friend's husband is a brain surgeon and makes like 1.2. Because it's a higher degree of specialization. The good news is you don't have to go to med school and residency for 20 years to do that in your marketplace. The easiest way to become an expert is to declare yourself one. Congratulations, you are now an expert. You got compliance issues, you can't say that. But everyone else can say, I'm an expert, right? So, for example, one of the ways that we were working on, one of the things that, so Tim's got help for seniors. He's now got a specialization in transportation, so we got a separate website, seniorvalettransportation.com. We've got one just for the little Jewish ladies for bubby'sbestfriend.com. And he's charging more to put up with Bubby, or he should be, than Jane.
And charging your daughter.
And charging,
Because
yes.
all the old Jewish ladies think I charge too much, and their daughters are all lawyers and doctors, and they bill $3.75 an hour. I'm only $1 a minute. Shit, you're free. No, go take care of my mom.
Yes, exactly. Guilt, yes. Okay, so let's go back. Let's do the miracle of price elasticity. I had said raise your prices, create a higher priced offering. We're going to talk about how to do that. So even though you may think you can't sell at higher prices, you can. And I'm going to show you how. And when you do, not only do you make more money, but you have happier customers. They actually want to pay more, and they'll behave better if you charge them more. The ones who nickel and dime you over price are the ones who pay less. The bottom 20%, the customers who generate the bottom 20% of your revenue cause you 80% of your headaches. The customer who writes you a $50,000 check for a video is a lot easier to deal with than the customer who writes you a $20,000 check. They're a lot more likely to do what you tell them. So let's go after that. So first of all, there's 5 reasons to embrace this miracle in case for some reason you don't think it's a good idea. Number 1, you get more income per customer. So then you have your annual customer value, what they buy in a year, goes up, and their lifetime customer value goes up. Number 2, your business is worth more equity. It's got more revenue. Number 3, you've got more income per transaction, per product, or per service because you're charging more. More income from less work. You can take on fewer people if you're charging more, if you want to. And you get more respectful and appreciative clients. So is it effective? Let's say you have 100 clients and each of them is worth $1,000 a year. You can change the numbers to fit your business in your head or on paper. Let's say you increase the annual value of each client by 50%. It's actually low, but if I give you a higher number, you might not believe me. So you increase from 50% to 1,500. You now increase your income from 100,000 to 150. It's a nice bump. But what if you lose some customers because you raised your prices? Right? What if I lose clients? What if 25% of them leave? So pissed off about the $500 increase. Now you've got 75 clients, each giving you $1,500. Well, you still brought in $112,500, which is a 12.5% increase from your previous income, but you're doing 25% less work because people left. So you got a 12.5% raise for 25% less work. That makes sense? So get paid more for working less. So why aren't you charging more? Here are the reasons. Number one, fear. You're afraid to. I don't want to piss anybody off. I don't want them to leave. You have legal issues in terms of how much you can charge, but everyone else, but everyone, to a certain, I mean, you can't charge 6% a year as an assets under management fee. You can't. But you could charge 3 and you're charging 1.5 now, is my guess.
Yep.
Exactly. So fear, doubt. Oh no, will they go for it? You're not the customer. Because you're thinking, I wouldn't pay that. I know it's worth $1,500, $1,000. Why would I pay $1,500? They don't know it's only worth it, and it's not. It's only worth it. Someone will pay for it. You're sabotaging yourself. Yes.
Every time one of my salespeople bring me a quote proposal, okay, I always tell them double the price, add 10%, and then give the client a 5% discount, so they feel better about it.
And cut the work in half.
Yeah, and more often than not,
they go for it. Right? You're not your customer. There's an example. Dan has a great saying. He said, once as a man, once you spend more than $30 on a watch, you're no longer buying a watch. You're buying jewelry. Male acceptable jewelry. So I thought that was really good. And I have a brother-in-law who collects watches, and I didn't get it until Dan told me that. I was like, you know what, your $10,000 Rolex just tells time, right? Like, why do you need a Rolex? Like, you're just paying for the brand. And then Dan was like, it's his jewelry. I'm like, oh, I get it. So then I went out and got a more expensive watch. Well, I actually had a client who's a jewelry store give me the watch so I don't have to pay for it. Poor pricing strategies. And we're going to talk about the different ways of pricing your product. Like what everybody else in the industry does, which you shouldn't do. Peer industry. I call these INIs, ignorant negative influences. Why aren't you charging more? Because of peer or industry or other people who are ignorant telling you shouldn't, or telling you what you should charge. Or they're your competition and you think you have to price the way they do, and they're ignorant, and you're the blind following the blind. Absence of the first 7 breakthroughs, because those breakthroughs all fixed price. So how do you create a miracle? Name 3 competitors who are selling a similar product or service for more money. We'll go around this way, because we can get to you, Tom.
Insight Consulting.
Tom's a consultant. Insight or inside?
Insight is you're asking for those customers.
Oh, that was a customer. Okay, so you didn't have a chance to tell everyone what you did.
Oh,
I was going to say, this is Tom.
I offer performance consulting services to manufacturing and product development companies.
Performance consulting to manufacturing companies.
Manufacturing
and product development companies. Okay, so 3 competitors who sell what you do for more money. Insight Consulting, and what are the other 2?
I would say like the Center for Industrial Effectiveness.
Okay.
3UB, and a third doesn't come to mind, but any other person that's lost their job.
Who now thinks they're a consultant. Okay, so that's part of your competition as well. Okay, but notice he easily rattled 2 off. Zach.
The company I work for is a website design and development company. Do we need the target market?
Oh, no. I mean, we're doing 3 competitors. You're a client, so yes. For those of you who don't know, and we talked about this I did a short Facebook video on this. There are 3 types of people in the room who are participating virtually. There are people who are here as part of the mastermind, and they come for the mastermind, and they're learning how to do this themselves or get more information, etc., etc. Then there are people who are marketing clients of my firm that we're doing this for, that they're just coming to get a better understanding, learn more, get more ideas, and get more out of working with us to double their sales. And then there are people who are solely participating, there are virtual participants who are other marketing consultants who are learning more about how to do what we do for their clients and their business. Does that make sense? Okay. So when when you hear me say something like, we're doing that for you, it's because they're a client. And, okay. So 3 competitors who sell what you do for more, sell websites for more money.
360 PSG.
Yep.
Algonquin.
Yep.
And I know there's a bunch.
Right, Travis Collins.
Yeah, Travis
sure.
Collins.
Okay. All right. So he's got a list. Bill.
I'm gonna say the only people in Buffalo that might charge more than I do are Sandler Sales Systems.
Okay. So he's got one. Okay. So what you're seeing is You know who your competition is, or you could Google it in about 5 seconds and make a quick phone call and say how much you charge for X. But the fact is, he didn't say there isn't anybody. So nobody is the highest price provider in their marketplace, although Bill's maybe number 2. Yeah.
I think I am, but that's only for personal services, but I'm not higher than David Ledbetter in Thor.
Okay. That's okay. But
Raise your prices.
raise your prices, yes. Okay, so it can be direct or indirect. Now what the important part is, right, how they're doing it. How are they charging more money? Is it just they're just quoting higher prices? And then the number one of the things Dan taught me is the number one obstacle keeping you from charging more is your ability to keep a straight face when you tell them how much it is. You've done that. Okay, so write down how they're selling it at a higher price. Do they just either have the same marketing that you do and they're just charging more? Or do they have a different marketing system that justifies that price in the customer's mind? We just increased our prices earlier, about a week ago, 50% over what we charged last year. We changed our marketing to make it higher, to justify that. But I am trying to be the most expensive provider in my marketplace. Because there's not that much competition. Think about it, there's 20 fast food restaurants with dollar menus. Everyone has a dollar menu now, again because of Wendy's. And they're all fighting out for your 99 cents. There's only one most expensive restaurant in Buffalo. You can argue pretty much between like Chop House or Rue Franklin and maybe one other, but technically how much is a bone-in cowboy ribeye of 48 ounces? One of them is charging more, charging the most. And they're not competing. It's fun. I am a very Omaha Steaks customer. And I thought Omaha Steaks was the high end of the market. I thought they were it. Until Dan was like, you mean you've never had Allen Brothers? I'll send you a box. And he told me a funny story that the guys at Omaha Steaks were sitting around and found out about Allen Brothers and were like, oh my God, we thought we were the most expensive. We better find a way to raise our prices. But that doesn't normally happen. The Chop House isn't going, crap, we better go over to E.B. Green's and find out what they're charging. Let's raise our prices $5 a steak. No one's competing to be the most expensive when they should. Because people believe they get what they pay for. There was a jewelry store we did marketing for, and the tagline that we came up with for them, part of the tagline was reassuringly expensive.
What was it?
Reassuringly expensive. People like buying. If people just bought on utility, there would be no Ferrari. We'd all drive the same car.
Isn't there a diminishing return?
I'm sorry?
Isn't there a diminishing return though?
Yeah, eventually at the highest, sure, you're going to get to the point where the cost of raising your prices doesn't justify the higher price.
Yeah, with the economy and those kind of things.
The economy is an external factor.
Okay.
What you want to do is raise your price, see what your conversion rate changes to. How many people say yes? And you keep raising your prices until someone says no. And then you change your marketing to justify the higher price and try it again. And until you feel like stopping. Yeah. But it's interesting that you brought up, isn't there a diminishing return? Economy, et cetera, et cetera. So there's some beliefs you've got, and I say this gently, but there's some limiting beliefs, we all have, I've got them too, in your head about what people are willing to pay. So you may stop yourself short of where you could raise your prices to because you think you've hit that ceiling, but it didn't really exist. And the only way you're going to find out is if you get out of your comfort zone and try. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because you may think there's a recession, but to the business owner who wants what you do, who isn't experiencing a personal recession, he doesn't care. Okay, so here's the easy example. You're gonna take whatever you sell, what you just wrote down when we said, what are you selling, who are you selling to? You're gonna create a deluxe version that costs 30 to 40% more. I'm not gonna make you double your prices in a day. I realize that may be pushing your comfort zone too much. 30 to 40% more. Don't pick something that costs 30 to 40% more to deliver, because they won't give you more money. Does that make sense? If you increase your cost 30 to 40% and your price 40%, you didn't make any money. 30, that's your diminishing return.
Okay.
30 to 40%, that's it. If it makes you feel better, start at 30. So I now have a this could be a bump. It could be I get something with it. So I buy a dog collar and I get the ebook. I get the free book, a book with it. The package costs 30% more. It costs you nothing to deliver the ebook. But they're getting value out of it, so they're willing to pay. With that fabulous elephant textured t-shirt comes our blankety blank. Or how'd you like to raise money, sell more in your gift shop than ever before? Well, we're going to teach you how to use this t-shirt to have an event and announce public relations and have a big deal about the release of the t-shirt and get lots of people in the Zoom. Some type of value add. Yes?
What about the case of like a financial advisor or me where I work, on commission structures and things like that?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
The question is, if you have a fixed, you have a fixed commission or you have compliance issues, you can't go above 3%.
Right.
What do you do?
Okay. He can't go above 3%, but he can sell something, he can bundle. He can sell something else with it. So one of the easiest ways, and you picked give me an example because I own a financial services firm that you know about, and it's where I started, but he can charge for a financial plan, a physical document that he was doing anyway for free that tells the teacher a retirement analysis. The price elasticity isn't, he can't charge anymore for a mutual fund. He's got legal restrictions. He can't. He'll go to jail. But there's no limit to what you can charge for a financial plan. When I started charging, I started 125, 250, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 4,000. I didn't get it because Dan kept saying every month, double your price, double your price, double your price. I didn't get a no until I got to $4,000 a plan. And then he said, go change your marketing and justify the $4,000, which I did, and then no one said no. So I sold a whole lot of plans for way too little money. So he can't raise the price, he can't say I'm going to charge you double on a stock trade commission, but he can sell them something else with it that he can raise the prices. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Or charge an hourly fee.
Or you could charge an hourly rate, you can keep raising that hourly. Yes. Because if you have a 66, you can charge it by the hour. Yes. Okay. Secret number 9 is stick-to-itiveness. It's not scientific, but this is the reason why most people fail. They stop, they quit, they give up, just short of the finish line. If you never make the system and never give it time to work, you're going to fail. You have to actually do it. And you have to tweak it. It's not going to work perfectly the first time. There's no money in giving up. Making it work changes your life. If I hadn't, so for those of you who don't know, I'll give you a tiny version of my story, for those of you who are newer, but when I was a financial advisor and I met Dan, and Dan said, write me this 6-figure check and I'll change your life, I went home to my wife and said, honey, I need to go borrow 6 figures to hire Dan Kennedy. She said, no. I said, okay, that's nice.
Should I say, who's Dan Kennedy?
She just said no. I came home the next day and said, honey, I need to borrow 6 figures to go hire Dan. She said, I thought I told you no yesterday. Stick-to-itiveness. I nagged her for 30 days in a row. I asked the same question for 30 days. And she finally said, okay, go borrow the money, you better pray this works and shut up. And it did, obviously. If I had given up on day 29, none of you would be here. Because I would still be a financial advisor making cold calls, interrupting people during dinner, asking for money. And I wouldn't know any of this. So, you need to create a plan. My plan was I was going to borrow the money one way or another to get Dan and then stick to it. And then I built the systems that marketed that business and then spun off the marketing firm that's a whole lot more fun. So most systems, I don't have to worry about the stock market anymore. Most systems don't work overnight or compliance, but need refining and revamping. So the money is in making it work and sticking to it and getting it done so that you can use it. And we're going to go over some systems in the next section. So make a list. So here's the thing. If you're like me at all, you occasionally succumb to shiny object syndrome. Yes, y'all resemble this remark. Shiny object syndrome. Ooh, that was a good idea. I'm gonna go do that. That's a great idea, Seth. I got that last month. I gotta go do it. He's got a book full of lists of things. So you're gonna make a list of the ideas that you started and abandoned. Because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You already invented it. You just forgot that you invented it because you got busy doing something else. I had this interesting conversation with my wife the other day. She said something about Valentine's Day is coming up, honey. And I said, that's subtle, what do you want? And she said, well, I think she's like, I want a ring with all the kids' birthstones in it because we're done having kids and we have 3 and I want all the birthstones. I said, well, do you want 3 for the kids, or do you want us in there too? Oh, that's a good idea, let's do 5. I said, damn it. I just cost myself money. This is why I have a jewelry store as a client, so I don't have to write checks for all this stuff. That's specifically why I went and got the jewelry store that she went to as a client, so that they would, and then charge them so much for marketing that they would say, ooh, we got to give you jewelry to pay for that. But that's another strategy. That's not. So anyway, she said,
You bought love.
I bought love. I traded love for marketing. So then she said, you know what else I want? No, what else do you want? So I want diamond earrings. I said, you know I bought you diamond earrings, right? You never bought me diamond earrings. I said, yeah. You have 1 pair of diamond earrings, and then you have 1 pair of pearl earrings with diamonds on the bottom of them hanging from the pearls from Tiffany. You bought me Tiffany earrings? They went with the Tiffany pearl bracelet I bought you. I remember the bracelet. I don't remember the earrings. Why don't you go look in your giant jewelry armoire that's so big you don't remember what you have, and I'm really pissed you forgot a present from Tiffany's. See? Shiny object syndrome about jewelry. That's what she gets it about. Ooh, those earrings look good. Oh, I already have them. I didn't know you. I forgot you. I have so much jewelry I forgot. I have so many ideas. I have a 3-inch thick binder of 600 pages of ideas I've found in the last 2 years that I haven't gotten around to. And I implement more than anybody I know except for Dan and Jan Silver and Mindex and people like that.
We were a bag of their children.
Exactly. So, circle the most promising one and actually commit to creating a marketing system around it. I made you do some of it here, like who do you want to sell, who do you want to sell to, in case you don't have the 3-inch thick binder of abandoned ideas, or in case you forgot where the binder is, or in case you have so many binders you don't know which one to start with. You could start with the one you came up with today. Or throw a dart. Define this, hopefully there's a more scientific method. Define the steps in the system and evaluate each step over the next 6 months. You'll end up with a reliable and predictable cash-generating marketing machine. Reasons why you won't stick to it. For some of you, maybe might not do this. You have no reason for confidence in creating a system. So use a system that worked for somebody else. Swipe it. You don't have to invent the wheel. Swipe somebody else's wheel. Is there someone in your industry who does what you do who has a system like this? Yes, there is. There is some consultant somewhere who's figured this out besides you. Go copy it. You can't legally plagiarize, but you can be inspired by. Is there a financial advisor who's cracked that code? Yes. There are thousands of them, and you don't even have to use me. I mean, yes, there are. Golf, yes, there is. Of course there is. Now, is there someone who's created the system for selling zoo t-shirts? Maybe not. But there's a system of, I'm sure there are people who sell to zoo.
Products and material, really.
Exactly. See, he already gets it. It's not the product, etc. No confidence in yourself. I don't know if I can do it. Your past does not equal your future. Your future is so bright you have to wear shades. You don't have enough reasons to stick to it. Write down why you want the money. The how is easy if you have a big enough why. My Tony Robbins coach taught me that. If your why is powerful enough, if why you want it is powerful enough, you'll find a how. You'll find the ways to do it. You'll figure out how to do it. You'll hire someone, you'll talk to someone, you'll find someone else who figured out how to do it and borrow it. But you have to have a why. You have to, why do you want it? Why do you want to make more money? You can't just want more money. It's got to be a compelling reason. It's got to get you up in the morning at 6 o'clock to go to Vietnam or wherever it is. So why do you want it? Do you want it because you are getting married, you got to pay for a wedding, and you want to have these crazy kids? I don't know. But there's got to be a compelling reason why, as opposed to just, I want a few extra bucks. My 3rd year as a financial advisor client came in to me and said, we're doing the fact find. What's your goal? I want $1 million. Why do you want $1 million? Because it's cool. Seriously? Yeah, I thought it'd be cool to have $1 million. That was the only reason. I probed and tried to get something else out. Like, I want to start a family. I need to take care of my parents. Something that would inspire this. No, I'm just a greedy bastard and I want $1 million. That's what he said. I'm a greedy bastard and I want to have $1 million. I said, you're not my ideal client. I'm sorry. I can't deliver this for you because it just doesn't work for me. So anyway, why do you want the money, or whatever it is? Number 2, it's too hard. Totally understand. None of this is easy. For easy, you would have done it already. But if you stick with it, it changes your whole life and you have an invaluable business asset. Because now you know you have a system that gets you your customers, keeps them happy, makes you money on autopilot. And then your whole life changes. Ignorant negative influences. Fire those people. Hang out with people who get it. Come here. Hang out with people who lift you up. You are the average. your income is the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You need better friends. Whoever you're hanging out with, you need better friends. I tell my friends.
My kids and my wife.
That's why, exactly. Right. Okay. I mean the 5 other people.
I know, I get it.
Yes, thank you for the joke. Isolation. It's hard to have the courage to go to do this in the dark by yourself, so don't go it alone. Have a support group. Secret number 10, models and mentors. This secret right here will take care of everything, which is modeling. Duplicating success in business is easy if you find someone who's already done what you want to do and copy it. Ask them, how did you do it? You can do this with dead people. Read their biography. If you read Dan's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, he talks about the theater of the mind and how you can have a virtual board of directors in your head, which I did. So I came up with, I imagined Dan Kennedy and Bill Glazer and Yannick Silver and Ryan Dice and Russell Brunson and all these guys sitting around a table in my head, and I would ask them questions and see what they would say. And I knew enough, because I had all their stuff and was in their coaching programs, that I could generally guess what their answer would be. And about 4 years ago, Dan put out a report on how to market to baby boomers before there's the best-selling book out right now that he wrote. This is like 4 years ago, was what baby boomers want. And he created it from this aspect of a financial services firm. And it was a full-service, multi-family office with a financial planner, lawyer, accountant, all under one, everybody all under one roof. One-stop shop. And this was 6 years ago. And I had literally just written the business model for Silver Spoon, my financial service firm, which was exactly that. And I sent it to him the same day he put out, and he said, oh my God, you channeled me. I said, see, I imagined you in my head, and I spent enough time with you that I got it. So you can copy anyone. And most people, if they're alive, I mean, obviously it might be harder to get a hold of Richard Branson and say, how did you do it? But the local version in your marketplace or wherever, probably willing to go to lunch and share. Successful people like helping other people. And you can also cobble them together. You can say, okay, there's a guy who's got a great system for disability insurance, but Brian K has the best system for selling annuities, so I'm going to put them both together. Or I like this part from this dog guy, and this part from Caesar, and this part from whoever. And make it your own. Blah, 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 blah. Get a mentor. Get yourself in a success environment that gives you reinforcement. So this is some of you who have been in the insurance or financial services business will know this, the story about 100 people, age 25. Go to age 65. 25 will be dead, 75 will still be alive. This is on census data. Of those 75, 34 will make less than $10,000 a year. 42 will make between 10 and 35. The average income for the group is $12,214. Only 4 people out of 100 will be financially independent by the time they're 65. Only 4. So you cannot hang out with the other 96 people. You have to find the 4, or you have to get in the 4. The Wall Street Journal just did their annual study of wealth, and to get, and it says, what does it take to be wealthy in America? Google the article, it'll tell you how much you need to make to get in the evil 1%, 5%, 10%. I'm trying to
just hang out with people that are worse than you so you feel better about who
No! See, that's why fat people get fatter. They hang out with other fat people. You hang out with skinny people. You need to be the skinny girl's ugly fat friend, hanging out with her to look better.
The wing.
The wing, you need to, yes, because it will inspire you to get skinny too. Yes, no, do not hang out with people worse than you so you feel better. Hang out with people higher up so it inspires you. You need the power of a place where the ambitious wealth seeker is not odd or ridiculed, but supported. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling pretty good as we're about to get into analyzing all the stuff, building the video funnel for all of this. You've got your juices flowing, your ideas are sprouting, you're raring to go and change your life in the whole world. You're going to take it all on, but you felt this way before. You're still here. So what are you actually going to do about it this time? Because last time you felt this way, you got all excited, you were inspired, and then you didn't do anything or enough. So what's different? New year. Okay. New year. All right. If your why is big enough, you'll actually get it done. So we are going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to go get into the very specifics of what needs to be in the videos that are part of your marketing system that attract your ideal customer, get them to give you their contact information, and then get them to buy from you. So we're going to literally build that so that what's different, I didn't give the answer. You answered, I didn't get the answer. What's different is I'm going to do a whole lot of this shit for you. Right now. So that you don't have an excuse of, I'll go home and get it done. It's already going to be done before you leave. So I'm going to make you do it. That's what's different. Okay. Bathroom break. Be back in a minute.